Hi, this is Mr. Lee. So in my previous video, I talked about how to do multiplication and division of algebraic fractions, and this video will be talking about addition and subtraction of them. Just do a quick recap of how to do subtraction and addition of normal fractions. For instance, if I give you a 1/6 minus 1/10, what you do over here in simplifying this is to take what I call lowest common multiple of the denominator. In which case, between 6 and 10, right, the LCM is actually 30. So in order for them to be equal, of course, you multiply 5 both in the numerator and the denominator to get the fraction to be the same. Likewise, for the second fraction, right, you also multiply by 3, right, in order to get the LCM of 30. So you multiply that to both the numerator and the denominator here. Once you have that, of course, you combine the fraction into the common denominator, and of course, you simplify what's left in the numerator. So the final fraction in the simple form will be 1/15. So in algebraic fractions, when you do algebra, the idea is the same, right? So just to give a similar example. So if I give you, for instance, a plus 1 over 3a minus 6 plus a plus 2 over 2a minus 4. The first thing that you want to take, of course, is to common the fraction. But before that, as a good practice, right, if you can see there's any common factors between the two of them, look out for them first. And you can identify them via factorizing out the denominator. So in the denominator, 3a minus 6, there's a common factor of 3. Let's take that out. And then, of course, with the second term, right, the common factor below is 2. Take that out also. And here you notice that there is a common factor of a minus 2 in both terms in the denominator. So of course, to identify the LCM and the lowest common multiple, it is just the lowest common multiple of the numbers 3 and 2, and that's of course our 6. So if you can see that, then of course, to so-called match up the two fractions aligned with the common denominator, so the first term you just multiply throughout by 2 and 2 here. So numerator becomes 2 times of a plus 1. For the denominator, right, you see that in order to achieve the same denominator here, you multiply by 3 over 3. So this is 3 times of a plus 2 in the numerator. So simplifying it, right, you have given you something of this form. This will be 2a plus 2 plus 3a plus 6, and of course that simplifies out as 5a plus 8 over 6a minus 2. Okay, so that's for the first example. Okay, for the second example, this is a shorter one. If I give you 5 over x plus 1 minus 3 over x minus 1, okay, as you can see, in this case, x plus 1 and x minus 1, they have nothing in common. So, of course, you can just combine them into a single denominator. That is, the LCM here is x plus 1 multiplied by x minus 1. In which case, of course, the first term will have become 5 copies of x minus 1, so that they give you the same initial fraction. For the denominator, this becomes 3 copies of x plus 1 as well, for the same reason. So if you basically, what's left to do now is to simplify both the numerator and the denominator. So numerator wise, right, for the same reasoning, you should get something like 2x minus 8. Then for the denominator, this is just your a plus b and a minus b multiplied together. If you recall the algebraic expansion identity, this is just your a squared minus b squared, which is 1 over here. So that's for the example 2. Okay, I'll finish off with just one last example. Okay, example 3 is slightly more complicated looking in the sense that there seems to be no common factors, right, for these two guys. Well, but before we conclude that, let's just see if we can factorize this out. And of course, the first important thing is to see if there's any way to keep this factorized. So this is actually, there's a lot of squares over here. So you might want to consider whether this is of the form a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, which seems to fit the bill. But let's just verify that. So this is of the form, right, 4a squared is just 2a whole thing squared. 4ab is just 2 times of 2a times b, whereas b squared is just, well, b squared. And this is of the form a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And of course, with that, you can actually factorize it out using our available identity. So just recall over here, right, a plus b squared is 2a, sorry, is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Okay, so with that, you can simplify that to 5 copies of 2a plus b whole thing squared. And now from here, you can see that both of them they do have a factor in common. So the LCM is not done by multiplying both together. In fact, the LCM is just 2a plus b squared. So the only thing to have to change over here is the first term. And that is achieved by multiplying the first term by 1 copy of 2a plus b. The second term for the numerator 5 stays good. Right, so that just simplifies to 2a squared plus ab minus 5, and then divided by 2a plus b squared. Okay. So this, hopefully these examples will be useful in helping you understand the addition and subtraction of algebraic fractions. So that's all for the video for today. So do look forward for our next video.